Welcome to the Hanford Dixon Show. I'm Gabriella Kreuz alongside the top dog. We've got a lot to go over and dive into with this Browns loss, 27-10 that we just took. Again, we're not eclipsing the 20. Was that a one and done, Pat? I hope not.
I hope not, guys.
Oh, so we'll get into it, Hanford, but real quick.
Wait a minute.
Yes?
Go ahead.
Is it true you had your first Christmas sale of the season?
Well, no. Before I get into that, don't you talk about my Christmas sale. But did
I
you notice?
I just know you because they came out and I said, I bet my friend Hanford.
Did you notice that my bark was not as it was a little weak?
Yeah, it was a weak bark
this time
because of this week.
Yeah, I got to. That's why I got to tell you. I was telling you what happened to me, and it started Monday. I started getting this toothache or something. I knew something wasn't right. And so I didn't get any, normally when something happened to your mouth or you get a toothache, it happens at night when everything is closed. Yeah. So Monday night it started. And then I said, well, Tuesday, I went through Tuesday and I said, I'm going to see what's going to happen. Maybe I'll be okay. Because, you never want to go to the dentist. Never want to go.
No one's too excited.
And so Tuesday night, it was the same thing. I'm talking about just in pain. And so I was up all night and just grabbing like an ice pack or something, putting it on my jaw. And then Wednesday morning, coming about 8 o'clock, I said, the hell with this. I can't take this anymore. So I just started, I jumped on the phone and I called a new dentist, and I found a guy in Avon Lake right on Walker Road. You looked him up?
Yeah, Dr. Plaz.
Dr. Plaz. And first of all, Dr. Plaz, let me say this. Thank you to you and your staff over there. You guys were just wonderful. But on my right side over here, they they went in the back and they took out this tooth.
Wow, you got a
The
tooth
thing was
taken out?
infected.
Wow, so you're like one tooth down?
Yeah.
No way.
But listen to this. And it was hurt. And this is what he said. He numbed everything, and he said, it's going to hurt a little bit. And then when he started doing it, I said, a little bit? I mean, I'm sitting there, and I got this frown on my face, and I don't know, guys. I'm telling you, you don't ever want this to happen or ever have to go through this. And I finally just got through the whole thing, but it was just absolutely painful. It was about as painful as watching those Browns, You
had to watch the Browns and get a tooth pulled. That's quite a weekend.
That was good. That was pretty bad. But you were right. I did have my first Christmas
sale. I bet that
sale.
eased a little bit of the pain. Maybe the swelling went down after your first Christmas sale.
I tell you what happened. I went to, obviously it was at the game. And I will never in my life again call you when 2 tickets become available to tell you if you want 2 tickets, and they're club seats too.
I know it was.
I mean, they're club seats.
What's
they're
tough
really.
okay, hold on. Hanford texted me at 12:30 in the morning. I'm still at a wedding, saying he's got a couple tickets, which I am so grateful for. But I'm scrambling. Like, am I gonna have the energy? And also, how could I find someone who's not hungover to go with me tomorrow?
Well, I was thinking maybe you wanted to take your boo. And I was finally going to get a chance to meet your boo.
Okay.
But, so then when you come back and said, I'm like, does she know how good these seats are?
Oh, man.
They're my seats.
I knew they were good. I was actually trying to guilt trip my friend into it. I said, are you sure? Are you sure? We got these tickets, top dog. I was really flattered that you thought of me, and I'm sorry I couldn't make it work out.
Well, that's okay, but just know this.
I know you always got my back, and that's really nice.
You will never again get that call
and now
from
he's like,
me.
you're cut off.
You're cut off. about 2 tickets. But I can tell you this, you didn't miss anything.
I know. It seemed like maybe a good game to miss. But although we could have chit-chatted and just had our fun.
So anyway, I have to tell you this too. So after the game, I do like some sweet visits and all that stuff. And then after the game, I went over to Morton's because I was going to get me something to eat, and then I was going to just jump in an Uber and go home. And I sit at the bar, and there was one seat at the bar, and the guy, the manager there, he said, Hanford, you want to sit in the restaurant? You want to sit? I said, there's one seat in the bar. Can you check and see if there's anyone sitting in that seat? And he called me and said, no, it's yours. As soon as I sat down, there was this guy and his wife sitting to the right of me. I mean, the guy was cool and all that, but his wife just kept drilling me. I mean, question after question after question. And at that point, I was just really tired. I mean, I wasn't rude. I'm always nice, because I know it's important to people. So I'm always nice, but I was just tired. I just didn't feel like hearing.
You weren't ready for the interrogation.
Yeah. And so I had just sat down and I had a beer. And so I just, I got up and I was out of there. But I went across the street, and this is where I'm getting to the Christmas ale. So I left there and I went across the street to the burger place.
Mark Wahlberg's spot?
Yeah, I went across the street to that spot, and I sit there and I ordered one of those double cheeseburgers with bacon. And the only thing I always have on it is bacon, cheese, mayo only, because I don't like the lettuce, tomatoes, and all that stuff. And I have to say this. They did put it on there, and I was really upset when I got home.
Wow. He's calling out everybody
Yeah,
today.
because I always say I want bacon, cheese, mayo only. I don't care what.
Enough ice in that Diet Coke, or someone do you dirty today?
No, there's enough ice.
Okay, good.
So, and then, but it was, and while I was sitting there and I was waiting on, I said, let me have a beer. I said, at Great Lakes. And I said, do you guys have Christmas ale? And she said, yes, we have Christmas ale. So I was really excited about that. So I had my first Christmas ale yesterday. So,
all right. I bet it went down smooth.
It did go down smooth. So it was such a good day. So are you ready for the bye week?
I'm ready for the bye week. I really am. Are you gonna do anything special? Like go?
Well, I was going to, but I have to go to Giant Eagle and Cuyahoga Falls from 5 to 7, and for Lipton hard iced tea. So I got to be there for that. So kind of excited. So I still want to invite everybody to come out there and see me. And
yours is in Cuyahoga Falls, Market District. Yeah, you know what? I was in the one in Strongsville last week. And have you ever been to that one?
No.
These market districts are
unbelievable.
Are huge. They're
unbelievable.
Fun. Like people just come to drink and shop, and they had like a whole upstairs, and they got the TVs going with the sports. I was like, wow, this is like a whole event space.
We're gonna dive into these Cleveland Browns, but we also, Gab, we're gonna. You remember we talk about all the time our Browns backers?
Yes, our Browns backers club. We got to bring on a new chapter today.
Yeah, we're gonna bring on a new chapter. We were so busy the last couple of weeks, we didn't have time to bring anybody on. So we're kind of really excited about that. So
we had a packed schedule. We had Angry Ken. Angry Ken not with us this week.
But here's what I wanted to say, and I was gonna really beat up on him about this because, as you just said, he is in love with Jameis Winston. I mean, and guys, let's just face it. I mean, again, we're going to jump into this, but let's just face it. Last week, he should have thrown 3 interceptions or whatever last week, but that's okay. We got to win, and we'll take it any way we can get it.
Okay, here's my question, though. Like, winning a couple games here and there, is that even going to benefit us?
No. And
I know that's crazy to say. Well, not crazy, but
I'm telling you, I like Jameis. He's a gunslinger, but he also really scares me back at that quarterback position because, I mean, he will just throw it, and he will throw it, and he will throw it, and sometimes he don't know where it's going.
Winston's not terrible. He's just not the long-term answer for the Browns. We'll get into more of the details here, Hanford. We got to take our first break of the show. Thanks for watching the Hanford Dixon Show. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. It is time for our Browns headlines, brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. If you're looking to update your home, you've got to check out Northeast Factory Direct. They've got the furniture, kitchen cabinets, hot tubs, mattresses, and more for way less than what you'd pay at those fancy retail stores. You can shop online also at northeastfactorydirect.com, but you can visit any of their stores too: Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, or North Canton. And don't forget to ask about that Hanford Dixon bonus. Hanford and I are going to be checking out the recliner we'll be giving the people. We got to do that this week, Top Dog. I know we say it every week.
Well, that's why I'm laughing. Because
we're going to do it. We promise.
He's going to kill us. I mean,
Seriously,
he is literally going to kill us because we haven't gotten over there.
We got to pick one out. What is it, tomorrow we're doing?
And you're right. Since it's a bye week, we have to do it. We have to get over there because, that's you were reading my mind on that whole thing about that recliner.
I'm just looking out the corner of my eye like, we still have to do that. All right, Hanford, let's get into this loss.
Yeah.
27-10 the Chargers defense was outstanding. So, okay, my question right off the rip is this game a result of the Browns just not firing on all cylinders, to be as cliche as possible? Or is it the fact that the Chargers are really that strong and dominant?
Well, they have a really good defense, and it all starts with their defensive coordinator, and you know him.
Jesse Minter. He's from the University of Michigan.
Absolutely. And see, Gab, let me tell you when this guy caught my attention. This guy, obviously, he came over with Harbaugh from Michigan, as you mentioned. And when he caught my attention, when I knew this guy was pretty much going to be a superstar as far as in the National Football League and possibly at some point, it's a little early right now, but possibly at some point he's going to have a head coaching position. But when the national championship game, first of all, he put together a team to beat Ohio State. And that's when Ohio State was just loaded with talent on offense. I'm talking about just loaded. And he put together the scheme and beat Ohio State. And I've been damned if this guy didn't beat Alabama. So he caught my attention right away. But getting back to him now and Harbaugh bringing him over as a defensive coordinator, I knew this defense was good.
They've only been allowing 13 points a game. That's an NFL best.
Well, what happened, Gab, and you're exactly right. They led the league in points allowed with just 13, I think they pretty much heard that yesterday, and they in the top 10 in passing yards allowed, and they're also just outside the top 10 in rushing yards allowed. So when you look at this defense, there's a lot of talent on it. I mean, a lot of talent. Joey Bosa, who is just a beast. I mean, you look at him and you're just like, hey, man, I don't want to get in a fight with you. I want to be on your side. But he was going through a little bit of an injury, a hip injury, but you couldn't tell it yesterday. And then they got 𝗟𝗓𝗓. I mean, come on. I mean, it doesn't get any tougher than that. I mean, you got 𝗟𝗓𝗓, and then if there is if there was anywhere on this defense that maybe had some concerns, it was probably the secondary. But what they do is they have this scheme where they run these two deep safeties where they pretty much protect those corners. And I tell you what, they play zone about as well as any team that I've seen them play. And it's a really, really good defense, and they tackle well, and their defensive line is just so stout. They're just so big and strong up front. And these guys, you have to give you a lot of credit, because I thought, guys, and I don't know if you guys felt the same way, after the big win, after beating the Baltimore Ravens, I just felt like there was an energy or something in the stadium. I felt like the momentum all of a sudden that was swinging our way, and I just thought we were just going to go on a run here. But it was just awful yesterday, some of the things that happened.
It was like we got a little back down to earth. Remember, we talked subtly, we glossed over it maybe, that the Ravens were without their two starting corners, and maybe their O-line, Jameis was getting a lot of time to make decisions, whereas this time around it was a different game entirely. They were putting a lot of pressure on. The blown coverages, I was going to ask you about this.
How many times have you seen, two blown coverages, and they were just small blown coverages. They were huge plays, touchdown plays, and they're pretty much over there with Denzel Ward, who is our best cover guy. I mean, you have to wonder a little bit. I don't know, maybe because Denzel, there was a question mark about him playing in this ball game because he had another concussion. And we didn't know whether or not he was going to play, but he was cleared through protocol to play in this game. And but it was just crazy, some of the things that was happening to our defense.
So, Hanford, my question for you is, Jameis was trying to throw into tight coverages on the zone for the other side for the Chargers, but then the Browns had two third downs. Those are those blown coverages on zone coverage. Do you just go to man coverage on third down now? I mean, the miscommunications, do you just clean them up? Like, where do you go from there in terms of being in the secondary?
Well, here's the problem on those. See, as a corner, what you have to do is, even if you're in a zone coverage, I mean, if no one is threatening you, if no one is in your area, you can't just sit that down. You just have to continue to get depth. You have to continue to be deeper, and help that safety out. And that's what we didn't do. If you watched it, Denzel just kind of like sit down right there in that little spot, and the receiver just kept running. You can't do that, especially when no one is threatening your area. You got to continue to just get that depth. And I think that's why Denzel came out and said, he came out, Gab, and he said, I take full responsibility for those coverages and those blown coverages, which you have to give him a lot of credit for. Yeah. But it was just, and guys, we have to understand this and realize this, that defense yesterday was missing their best linebacker, 𝗟𝗑. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought that was a big move to put 𝗟𝗑 on injured reserve. Now, just so people don't misunderstand this, now the bye week that's coming up, it doesn't count as those 4 games that he's got now, because he's got to be out for 4 weeks and he's got to miss 4 games. The bye week doesn't count as one of those games because we're not playing a game. Sure. So actually, he's going to be out for 5 weeks. But he's pretty much, and that was just a scary situation anyway last week to see him just lying there in the middle of the field. And So
guys, I don't think we even see him the rest of the year. If you're Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, he's an integral part of your team.
Right.
Gab, do you think we see him the rest of the year? There's no real point.
I don't know that it's worth it.
2-10 or whatever it is.
Sure.
No.
But guys, did you see Myles Garrett yesterday?
He did go off. It was good to see Myles be himself.
Did you see Myles go off yesterday?
Yeah. I mean, he just got a little juiced after Halloween.
We were missing him because 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, he has not had a sack, and it was just a matter of time before he just went off. And then, guys, we had I think in the first half we had a total of 6 sacks in the first half. And look at these numbers right here. Here's the thing that really hurt us. Okay, the first half, we had a total yards of only 57. 57 total yards in the first half. They had 256. Rush yards, we had 29 rush yards. Passing yards, we had 28. And but we did have 6 sacks, and we only scored 3 points. Yeah. I mean, 3 points. I think at the half, the score was like 20-3. And I was very, very shocked. I think yesterday we took a step backwards.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, we're going to look at how we can take a step forwards right after this on the Hanford Dixon Show. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. Top dog. We got to talk about this offense a little bit from over the weekend. Let's see. I'm going to read you... Yeah, he's already
oh, my God. I knew you were going to get it. I knew it.
Our guy Jameis, 26 for 46, 235 yards, a touchdown, 3 interceptions, and 6 sacks. We didn't even talk about Chubb yet and how he wasn't too productive for us. 15 carries, 39 yards. What are your thoughts on what you saw from the offense?
Well, let me go to Chubb first because we just got to face it. I mean, he's still trying to come back from that knee injury, and he's still trying to trust that knee. Before yesterday, his numbers were 27 carries with just 74 yards. Just 74 yards, and we know Chubb. Normally, if Chubb was the old Chubb, I mean, he gets 74 yards in his sleep or something, not even trying.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I mean, there were moments where he was the old Chubb, but you could just tell he's just still not back yet, and we understand that. That's gonna take some time. I'm not worried about Nick Chubb. But this offense, I mean, it's just terrible.
Tillman only caught 6 of 11 targets for 75 yards and a touchdown. Moore only caught 3 of 9 targets for 28 yards.
Well, and that's the thing. How can we go from last week against the Baltimore Ravens? I mean, Jameis get everyone involved. I mean, Tillman, Moore, Judy, and I think each of those guys last week, I think each of them pretty much had over 70 yards apiece receiving yards. He got them all involved. And let's not even talk about Njoku. I mean, Njoku just seems like last week, like he's back. I mean, wasn't afraid to throw to him, and when he threw the ball to him, Njoku came up with the big catch. Yeah. So that was just absolutely outstanding.
Well,
but
like someone wise once told me, pressure makes a pipe burst.
Pressure
And,
busts a pipe.
If you put the pressure on, now all of a sudden these throws, these targets, everything's we're rushed.
this offense is it's just terrible. I mean, and yesterday when you watched it yesterday, it just we just couldn't get anything going. And I think at one point on third down, I think we were like 1 for 6 or 2 for 7 or something like that. I thought, and don't fall into this groove or this make believe because a lot of the yardage that we got yesterday came toward the end of the ball game, and they were like cleanup yardage, and that's a little bit different than when this defense is really. I thought you wanted to shake my hand. I thought that's what. I thought you was gonna do one of those shakes again.
My Italian is coming out.
But it's just it was just terrible. I mean, it was just terrible, and we just got to get this thing. We just got to get this thing turned around. Do I think it's too late? No, I don't think it's too late. I mean, the ship is getting ready to sail. I mean, because what are we 2-7 right now, Pat?
Yes.
2-7, guys. And that's kind of my question is, with this offense, I know Jameis was trying to fit in throws like that pick he threw in the corner of the end zone. It just wasn't there. Do you think Jameis is not seeing things? Because the route was there. The route was kind of open, but in zone, he's forcing that throw when he doesn't need to force it.
Well, if you watch him yesterday, he was totally different from the Ravens game. And what I mean by that, his progression, his reads, just like you talked about, if the first read wasn't there, he was immediately going to the second read. He was getting rid of the football. If you watched him yesterday, he was holding the football a lot longer, and he kind of looked like Deshaun, where when it wasn't there, he was more apt to just take the ball and try to run and get whatever he can get out of it.
Yeah.
So he wasn't the same Jameis. He went back to the old Jameis. And what I mean by the same Jameis, I'm talking about in the Ravens game. He went back to the Jameis Winston that everybody else is known, where he's been throwing a few, because the joke is he's going to throw some touchdown passes, but he's also going to throw a lot of them to the opposing team. And here's the difference between the Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers yesterday. The Baltimore Ravens dropped all those interceptions, but not the Chargers. Every single time, or almost every single time, when they had an opportunity to create a turnover, create an interception, they picked off those balls. And that one, Pat, that you were talking about in the end zone was huge. I mean, it was a huge play because we were threatening to score, and he tried to fit it in there where he just shouldn't have thrown that ball, and the guy tipped it to his guy, and they end up catching the interception and going the other way. But this offense, and then we haven't even talked about Dorsey. I mean, Dorsey now, his offensive coordinator, the honeymoon is over for him.
Yeah.
The honeymoon is over for Ken Dorsey. Because last week, because we won, everything was good. Everything came up roses. But guys, since we lost this week, I mean, this offense just stinks. I mean,
did it feel like a different game plan? I mean, what were we doing so differently? It didn't really feel like a different game plan. It felt to me like the Chargers defense was just better and more prepared.
Yeah.
This is a good team. I mean, this is a good team, and you have to give Harbaugh a lot of credit on this whole thing. I keep saying it. You have to give him a lot of credit. And, Harbaugh always have that saying, hey, guys, who's got it better than we do? Nobody. You got it right this time, Gab.
I didn't. Last time I figured out that you want me to go with you.
Yeah.
Hey, was Alex Van Pelt the brains behind the efficient offenses of the last few years?
Well, there's no question about it. But and I know where you're heading with this. You're heading with obviously the changes that we made on that offensive line. And I think Stefanski had a comment. He said that DeJuan Jones was an experiment. That's something that they've been working on, and they decided to just stick with it yesterday because my understanding, Jed was ready to play. I mean, he was healthy enough to play, but we stuck with DeJuan Jones at that left tackle position. And but you're exactly right. Van Pelt, You said Van Pelt, right? Because I get those I get all those guys mixed up. But anyway,
they're about the same anyway.
They're about the
Ken
same
Dorsey
anyway.
right now is about the same as Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, because they have the title as far as offensive coordinator, but Stefanski is the offensive coordinator, but Stefanski got off of that hot seat. He said, I'm not calling these plays anymore. If it's not working, it's not my fault. But one thing I could say is he is still down on the sideline, and he's still giving his input. But as far as the play calling, it's still Ken Dorsey right now. He's the guy that's really calling all the plays. But it just wasn't working. I mean, it just wasn't working. There's no execution. And when you don't have any execution, you have nothing but problems because and the defense, guys, even as well at some point it looked like the defense was playing that when you don't convert on third down, I mean, obviously that hurt everyone, and that just stops everyone. But we'll see what we could do. But this team, we got to get it together because I thought Cedric Tillman, I thought he was just getting ready to just break out, and Jared Judy was getting ready to break out, and also Elijah Moore. But I just didn't see that same intensity with those guys yesterday. For whatever reason it was, it just wasn't happening. And then we just couldn't run the football yesterday for whatever reason. And when you can't run the football, it's going to be hard for you to throw the ball because nobody's going to fall for your play action passes. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw during this ball game, the Chargers started to really feel themselves, and they played some zone, but I started to see them with those young corners and guys they had. I started to see them play a lot more man-to-man defense, and as a result, they just shut us down.
Yeah, Gab, we're heading into the bye week at 2-7.
Yeah.
Do you want to see any changes, coaching changes? I mean, we're going to see some trades potentially. The trade deadline.
Yeah, I think you got to see some trades.
Right?
And you almost got to look way ahead now at this point.
Right.
My question
long
was,
term, what do you think?
Oh, Las Vegas.
So Las Vegas
used
fired
to be
3
LA
coaches
Raiders,
already.
but Las Vegas Raiders, did you see they got rid of 3
yep.
coaches?
And while we're recording, the Saints
Saints
just fired their head coach, Gab. I mean, they started off with 2 big wins and then 7 straight losses.
Yeah.
Wow.
7 straight losses.
No. Wow.
My
Some
question is,
people say I'm no good, crazy as can be.
All right, we got to take a break.
I
We'll be
get
back
drunk
with more
in
Hanford
the
Dixon show right after
morning,
this.
I get stoned in the afternoon.
Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon show. It is time for our Lipton Hard Iced Tea hard hit of the game.
This is my favorite segment because I like hard
hitting
hits, but I want to hear yours first. Where are you going
Well, I
with
feel
this
like we
one?
got to talk about Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay, so he having the 2 sacks in 3 plays to pin LA in their own 5-yard line. Hey, this guy, it was good to see him be his old self.
It was good to see him be his old self, Gab. And like you say, actually, we could pick either one of those 3 sacks that he had to be the Lipton Hard Iced Tea big hit or hard hit of the game because Myles Garrett just exploded. You know what? I understand because, I guarantee you, if you ask him, he'll be the first one to tell you it's just a matter of time before him exploding to have a good game. Because when you're a good player such as Myles, that you're due for a big game, and it was the same way with me. I mean, like when I would go 1 game or 2 games without a really, really big game, I knew it was just a matter of time before I was going to have a big game.
All right, Hanford, well, happy with how our defense played for the most part. Little Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde action, but we're happy with our defense. We're looking for hard hits after this bye week. Thanks for watching the Hanford Dixon Show. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. We've got our headphones on. We've got our Garage Beer featured interview. We're bringing in folks from the Browns backers clubs. It's good to get to know all these different chapters across the nation, across the world, really. And today we're chatting with Jenny Brenner. She's the president of the Baltimore City Browns backers. Thanks for coming on the show, Jenny.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I just thank you for inviting me.
So tell us a little bit about your club. How you guys got started and how poppin' it is.
So it was about 10 years ago that I was on Facebook and, some random, Browns fan, messaged me and said, hey, I'm starting up a Browns, backers in Baltimore City. Would you be interested in being a member? I said, sure. So there was not very many of us at all. And through the years, it's gone kind of bar to bar. And last year I was vice president for about 4 years. And then last year I became the president. So this is my first year, basically, as the president. And it's kind of hard to find a bar in Baltimore that will host a Cleveland team. But I feel like this one that we have right now is really great. It's Abby's Burger Bistro in Fells Point. And, we have our own upstairs and we have sound, and we have roughly around like 25 to 30 people a week coming to see the games.
Boy, I tell you, that sounds like an appearance for me when the Browns come in to play Baltimore. No, just kidding, Jenny. Just kidding. Just kidding. just kidding. Jenny, let me ask you this. Let's talk a little football right off the bat before we get back to your Baltimore City Browns backers. I mean, what do you guys think from a team that obviously we played so well against the Baltimore Ravens? And by the way, were you guys able to just stick a knife into a lot of those Ravens fans during that game?
We were so happy with that. It felt like, because it's been such a rough year. We needed a win, and we needed a big win. And this was a huge win for us, especially for us being in Baltimore City, because you have no idea how much the trash talk happens when you're walking around that city in Browns, gear, and they're ruthless. Okay. And they'll bring up Johnny Football, for God's sakes, they'll bring anything up to, just have like some kind of derogatory comment, to kind of put us down. So when we won that, it felt like, I would think, like kind of like a Super Bowl win. Okay. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet, but it felt really good.
Well, Jenny, I have to say this. Baltimore is our old team. And when Mr. Modell obviously took them there, and I kind of like the Ravens because my best friend Ozzy is still with them. He's executive vice president. And but Ozzy will be the first one to tell you that Hanford likes the Ravens, but when the Ravens are playing the Browns, that's when we part ways because I'm all orange and brown. I mean, I'm all in. But what do you? I mean, Gab and I and Pat, we're sitting here and we're trying to figure out. We go from one team 1 week and we're beating up on a very good team, the Baltimore Ravens, and then we have the other hardball coach coming here, and we just look like a totally different team. What do you guys say while you're watching the game?
Well, obviously, it gave us a lot of hope when we won that game last week against the Ravens. We were like, and look, it's a divisional team, so we're going to play that team especially hard. And I'm not saying like our guys are like laying off when it's non-divisional, but I know with the history with Baltimore that they go in 1,000% to try to win that team, win team because it's a division team, and because of the kind of bad blood between our teams, getting the team stolen away from us, and so it's kind of like it. I can understand. The one thing that I can't understand is yesterday's game. I don't have any explanation for that. Right. It just seemed like we were just so flat. I don't know. I can't explain it from week to week. It's really a very tough team to watch from week to week because you don't know what you're getting. We're inconsistent.
Well, I could tell you, you're not the only one that don't know what to say. Well, what are your members saying about this quarterback position? Because obviously, we got DTR, a guy that we drafted. Jameis is the starter. Again, we talk about him playing so well 1 week and then come back and have a disaster game yesterday or Sunday, I should say. And then Deshaun. I mean, what is everybody saying about that quarterback position?
So,
and I know that's a touching subject,
Yeah, no, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you the real talk, and I'm just going to let you know that the general consensus in my club is that we did not want Watson in as quarterback. Okay, we gave him a chance. He didn't produce. okay, let's see something else. And they were not going to do that unless, of course, he got hurt. Now, we were not happy, of course, about the way, of course, an injury. No way. I mean, we never want any player to be injured on our team at all, or any other team for that matter. But it was the only chance to see something else. What is the team about? We know we have a bunch of great guys. We needed a great quarterback. Winston, what he showed against the Ravens, I was like, okay, this is it. That we're rolling now. Okay. Now, yesterday, and I know he has the reputation of having a lot of interceptions, and which kind of showed that yesterday. But that, to me, did not limit what his talent is. I'm not giving up on Jameis Winston. I think he is our guy. I really think that he can do it for us. Does he need to get to know, or like, he hasn't been out there? All right. So maybe from week to week, he might be inconsistent, but I say we roll with Winston. Definitely.
Roll with Winston. Hey, listen, I'm okay with Winston. I was telling Hanford, I think that maybe he's not our future answer, but he's the guy right now, and he's the guy for the rest of the season. In Winston, we trust, and we can only hope that we have less interceptions.
You roll.
I agree with you. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Roll with Winston.
Roll with Winston. Yeah,
exactly.
Just a little. Just like we had to roll with Joe Flacco last year. Like, we were behind him, and I do believe that we can get behind this kid, definitely.
Well, I'm glad you guys want to get behind him, because I am just not seeing it. But I like him, guys. I'm with you guys. I like him. I mean, what choice do we have pretty much right now? And then when you look at, but we all have to face the reality that Deshaun is still on the books for, what is it, about $75 million that is guaranteed to him. So I just, we're just in a pickle, I want to say, guys.
We're in a pickle. We know this.
It's terrible.
It's a bad spot. It's a tough spot to be in. And I know a lot of my members, including myself, look back and we're like, we see Baker Mayfield balling out. We see, Joe Flacco doing really well. And we're like, man, they screwed up again, the front office. And I can say this about the Baltimore Ravens. I don't want to say this good thing about the Baltimore Ravens, but their front office is making some good decisions.
Right.
And Ozzie Newsome did a heck of a job with that team to build that team. Okay. Yeah. What are we doing that we're not making these good decisions to build this team to become a Super Bowl champion? I don't know. I mean, I'm my dad was a huge Browns fan. I'm a huge Browns fan. And through the years, we have not been able to make it into the Super Bowl at all. Something's got to give.
Hey, Jenny, tell what if, how do people or fans or Browns fans want to get more involved with your club or want to join your club or something like that? Tell everybody how they could do all this.
So we're on Facebook, and we're also on the Browns Backers Worldwide.com. Internets, so you can look on there. My phone number's on there, my email's on there, where we meet is on there. So and you don't even have to join if you don't want to. If you're just coming in town and you want to take in a Browns game, we would welcome you, definitely.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, anything I could do to help you and your club, don't hesitate to ask. Because we really, really appreciate you being on our show. Because on this show, the Hanford Dixon Show, Gab and I and Pat, we love the Browns backers, and we know how important you guys are for this football team.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is just so fun to get together every week and take it in with Cleveland people. We just love it.
Jenny, we love you.
We love you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on, Jenny. Thanks for your enthusiasm.
You're welcome.
Keep those good vibes coming. Okay, we'll be back with more Hanford Dixon Show right after this. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. We're going to go around the AFC North. Hanford here, brought to you by Garage Beer. Beer?
What beer?
Tastes like beer.
What beer?
Garage beer.
Garage beer. Okay.
Garage beer. You can drink it out of your garage. You can drink it not out of your garage.
You know who really like garage beer?
Who's that?
Those Kelsey boys.
Oh, yes, they do.
They love that garage beer. I like garage beer, too. I don't just like, I like garage beer.
Yeah, you like the little lime one.
Yeah.
Hanford. Okay, listen, because we only have so much time left.
Okay.
Thursday night, this big matchup, Bengals at Ravens. It's a rematch of that Week 5 overtime thriller. Baltimore won at 41-38. The Ravens have won 3 straight versus Cincinnati. The Bengals are 0-4 versus teams that are 500 or better this year. What are your predictions for this big matchup?
Boy, this is a big, big game. This is a huge game for both teams. I mean, this is an AFC North monster matchup game. And Baltimore right now has just got back on winning track with a big win, beat up on the Denver Broncos. And looking at it, I mean, the Bengals just came off a big win with Joe Burrows throwing 5 touchdown passes. Here's the thing, and Baltimore is hoping that they'll be full blast in their secondary, because when they played us, obviously Humphreys and Nate Wiggins were 2 guys that were out there, 2 starting corners. So they're hoping to get back to full speed there, because when you look at the Baltimore Ravens, they haven't been putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and they cannot go into this ball game and play the Joe Burrows and not put any pressure on him with the secondary way the secondary's been playing, because they've been giving up big yardage back there. So that's going to be crucial. But when you look at it, Lamar is playing as well as anybody right now in the league. And I people can say what they want to say, and they have their own opinion. Right now, if I had to stop today and pick an MVP of the National Football League, my pick would be Lamar Jackson right now. He's playing that well. Not only is he extending plays with his legs, but also his arm is such a big weapon right now. And he's got those guys, those wide receivers right now, Aguilar and the rest of that game. I mean, they're just playing really well. So again, a big game, but if I were to pick one of those guys who's going to win that game, I'm going to have to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, Hanford, what do you think? The Ravens just traded for Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver from the Steelers. He's kind of a good security blanket, I would say. They've got a lot of deep threats. They've got Zay Flowers, that quick wide receiver, but Deontay Johnson's a possession receiver. Did you like that move for them?
I did.
Yeah,
but see,
it's a great move.
That's the thing about Baltimore. They're not afraid to go out and make that move when they need to improve their football team. Eric DaCosta, their GM right now, is a guy that will go out and do those things. But I thought it was just a great move. And you just said Flowers. I mean, this kid, I mean, he is playing extremely well right now. Mark Andrews is starting to play really well. But then again, we thought the Bengals were playing, who are the Bengals? And you mentioned it, against teams that are above 500, they have struggled. So, again, I will pick the Baltimore Ravens, but that's a big game.
Okay, now this is an interesting game. The Steelers are 6-2, Commanders 7-2. They're going to be, Steelers at Commanders.
Well,
first of all, is Jaden Daniels Rookie of the Year?
Well, I think so. I mean, this kid is something else. And he's a lot like a mini Lamar, meaning he can beat you with his legs and also with the arm. I think we're going to get a chance to see really how good the Pittsburgh Steelers really are.
I think this is a good matchup. And Mike Tomlin, let's see here. Steelers are going to come off a bye. Tomlin is 13-4 all time after a bye week. So I think this will be a good matchup.
It's going to be a good matchup, and it's going to be a good game, because both teams right now are playing extremely well. I mean, obviously Pittsburgh is atop the AFC North right now, and they want to stay there. So this is going to be a hard one to pick, or a hard team to say who's going to win. But if it was up to me, in order to pick this game, it's so hard to pick those Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, you just don't want to go with them. You just don't want to pick them. I mean, I just hate it. But I'm going to go with the Steelers, because, as you mentioned, I think Tomlin has had enough time to figure out how to stop this team. And then you got, and Pat, those rushers they got. J.J. Watt,
that defense is
Highsmith.
So the Steelers have one of those luxuries too, because you can't really copy Lamar Jackson. You can't really copy Jaden Daniels.
Right.
But you've got Justin Fields running the scout team quarterback this week.
Yeah.
One of the more athletic quarterbacks in the league. That's your only chance. You could put a running back or a wide receiver back there, but Justin Fields can make those throws. So they're going to face him all through the bye week, all through the practice week. I think the Steelers are going to win this game.
Like I said, when you give Mike Tomlin an extra week to prepare for you, then you have problems. And this team right now, they're not atop of the AFC North for nothing. They're a lot better team than we all thought that they were going to be at the beginning of the year. So I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hanford, what are you going to be doing this bye week?
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Friday from 5 to 7.
Right.
I'm going to go again to Giant Eagle in Cuyahoga Falls for the Lipton Hard Iced Tea. So, again, I want to remind everybody, come and see me out there. Come and see me. I'm going to be signing autographs, taking pictures. And I'm sure if you don't have any pictures or if you don't have anything, I'm going to have something with me. So just come out and see me. If nothing else, just to say hi and tell me how much you enjoy the Hanford Dixon show, how much you enjoy seeing Gab and not me. I know you don't want to watch me. You like to watch Gab, but come and see me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, have fun, Top Dog. Thanks for watching the Hanford Dixon show. We'll be back next week.